Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my very first live stream on YouTube. This is indeed first. I hope you're all having a very good October 1st. If something seems really weird, if the quality goes weird, if the sound goes in and out, if you can't hear me or something, just speak up in chat if you would. I will have a little background music on as we dive into the Call of Cthulhu starter set. All right, so I'm not going to go crazy into an unboxing here. I just kind of want to get playing because the way this is going to work is basically there are 3 books in this set, and I'll just kind of show you what's what here. Obviously, this is the newfangled 40th anniversary Call of Cthulhu starter set by Chaosium, Mike Mason and friends. And I'll just give you a quick show of what's in here. So you get a handy dandy what's in this box. Book 1, Alone Against the Flames, a solo introductory adventure, which teaches you the basics of Call of Cthulhu as you play through a mystery. That's what we're going to be doing tonight. Book 2, Call of Cthulhu starter rules, everything you need to get started playing games of mystery and horror. Book 3, Paper Chase and Other Adventures. That's for more players than we currently have here, meaning me, and I'm not going to get in there. So we basically have that. This is Book 1, Against the Flames. That is our solo adventure here, and it basically is kind of like choose your own adventure. So I'm not going to spoil myself with that just at the moment. Book 2 is Basic Rules. So this is the mechanics insofar as we need to know about creating a player, what happens on adventures, that kind of thing. We're going to refer to this here and there as dictated by this. It kind of throws you in, gives you a couple very small basics, and then the rest of the rules are actually in here. And book 3 is basically pre-made adventures for when you actually get going with other players. It's got maps, it's got, evidence and things like that. That's totally fine. So you get 5 pre-made characters here, and they're just variously, one's a history student, one's a science student, one's an engineering student. Okay, we have students. One's an archaeology professor. That's basically Indiana Jones. Come on. Nevada Jones, I ask you. Wentworth Avebury. Okay, fine. So those are all the pre-mades. They give you a number of sheets so you can make your own character. And we'll be using one of these, so I'm just going to put that off to the side. I believe all these are for some of the adventures in the 3rd book, so I don't think we're going to be using any of these tonight. And they do give us dice. Really not bad, but hey. Other than that, I'm just going to be using my own dice because these are very Cthulhu-esque. I didn't buy them with that. These are just Reaper miniatures. I forget what they call them. I think it's pizza dungeon dice. Anyway, decent. Okay, so book 3 goes back in. This goes back in because we're not going to need it. 1 second. All right. Good. So, alrighty, let's see what we need to do first. By the way, is there anyone in chat that does not know what H.P. Lovecraft and what Cthulhu is? If so, just go ahead and chat it out, because I'd rather not leave you in a complete mystery while we're also solving a mystery. It's just kind of, a thing. I'm going to assume that everybody here basically knows the gist of it. All right, so. Okay, the overview of the game. The aim of playing Call of Cthulhu is to have fun with your friends. Really? As you explore and create a story of mystery and horror. One player takes the role of the game moderator, known as Keeper of Arcane Lore, Keeper for short. Their role within the rules is run the game for the rest of the players. Okay, this obviously is a bit different because there is no keeper, or you are the keeper, and you just read through and it literally tells you what to do. Tells you what you're going to do, and it reads very much like Choose Your Own Adventure, if you remember what those are. Okay, so let's see here. Dice roll variation. Okay, fine. I know all that stuff. Okay, good. All right, so we are going to dive right in. So it basically just starts, and we have a section number 1 here. I'm just going to read this all out as I do it. The sun is high in the sky, a merciless ball of heat. You feel scorched by the time you reach the bus halt in front of Osborne's drugstore. It's a relief to put down your heavy cases and take off your hat for a moment. You fan your face. It has been a long summer here in your hometown, and yet a curiously empty one. You look across the street at the grubby butcher shop, the grocer's with its faded awning, and the shabby tobacconist. Mistrustful faces glare at you as they pass, eyeing your clothes and luggage. It was your parents' choice to live here, not yours. You were happy down south as a child among Providence's white-walled houses and leafy churchyards. Perhaps this new job in Arkham will supply the change you need. Yet everybody you know in the world lives here. You know nobody in Arkham, not one soul. You ask yourself one last time if you're doing the right thing. The answer is here. None of your supposed friends have come to see you off. You are alone. Whatever challenges lie in Arkham, it will be a new life and a brave one. A small gray motor coach approaches and rattles to a stop. You put your hat back on and pick up your cases. Go to 263. Random. Carrie, welcome in. What's up? How you doing? We just got started here. All right, 263. Two young men with sullen expressions alight from the coach. One looks you up and down before heading away. The driver also steps down, glancing at you before crossing the road to visit the tobacconist. When he returns, he is rolling a cigarette between his yellowed fingers. He gives it a final twist and examines you as he reaches for his matchbox. He is a thin man in his 50s, dressed in a stained shirt with the bus company emblem. Yet his eyes are sharp in their dark sockets. Where to? You show him your ticket for Ossipee. From there, you will connect to Rochester and Portsmouth, before the coastal line to Newburyport, and finally Arkham. You should be able to afford a rail ticket for at least some of the way, otherwise this will be the first of many long bus trips. The driver scratches the match and lights his cigarette. The end flares as he takes a draw, then he exhales and gestures to the back of the coach. Luggage rack's up there. Now we have our first instructions. Look at your investigator sheet. Huzzah. At the top, you have spaces for 8 characteristics: strength, constitution, power, dexterity, appearance, size, intelligence, and education. Allocate the following values among them, writing them in the large squares beside each: 40, 350s, 260s, a 70, and an 80. These are percentiles, by the way. So if it says 80, it just means you have an 80% chance of something. Wales, yo! What's up, man? I thought you might like this. This is This is a little bit different game. This is Call of Cthulhu. This is not D&D, but it is a basic tabletop roleplay game. I just happen to be solo playing, so you might get a little bit of a feel for how this kind of works. All right, so if you would like more information about what the characteristics mean, go to page 7 of book 2. When you've done that, go to number 8. So, page 7 of book 2. Okay, so some of these are obvious, and some of these statistics you'll find in other tabletop roleplay games. Strength, STR, measures the raw physical power your investigator can bring to bear. Constitution is a measure of the health and hardiness of your investigator. Power is a combination of force of will, spirit, and mental stability. Dexterity is a measure of your investigator's physical agility and speed. Appearance measures the physical appeal of your character. Size reflects your investigator's combined height and weight. Intelligence is a rough measure of your investigator's cunning and ability to make leaps of logic and intuition. Education is a measure of the knowledge that your investigator has accumulated through formal education or the venerated School of Hard Knocks. Much venerated, that one. Okay, so... All right, fine. So I think... Let's figure out what we care about the least here. Now, given that this is going to be a mystery, given that I'm going to be up against God knows what, Cthulhu and the Lovecraft mythos being anything from half-humans, invisible creatures, star gods that telepathically mess with people in their dreams and sleep, and many, many things that can drive me absolutely insane. I probably don't want to be a dummy. Okay, so what's going to be the worst here? I'm going to go ahead and say appearance should be worst with 40. I will be butt ugly. Okay, what do I want to be best with the 80? That's a tough one. Okay, let's go. We got an 80, a 70, two 60s, three 50s. So let's figure out some 50s here. I definitely want education and intelligence to be up there. Dexterity should be up there. Constitution should be up there. Strength, okay. Size, I don't really care. So let's go 50 for size. Not super tall, not super fat. Pow, pow, pow. What is that again? Power is a combination of force of will, spirit, and mental stability. Okay, fine. So there's not a lot you really want to be bad at, I think. Let's do a 60 for power. A 60 for dexterity. $50 for strength. $50 for constitution. We'll do the 70 for education and 80 for intelligence. So we're going to be a bit on the brainiac side, to be honest. We're basically rolling through this as Ichabod Crane. And I'm just going to go ahead and name myself Ravenclaw McGillicuddy, because why the hell not? So there, we have a sheet that looks like this. Okay. When you've done that, go to number 8. Good. going to number 8. You see what I mean by this being a choose your own adventure? It just tells you what to do in the book, and you read each little blurb, and it just will tell you if this stat is such and so, or you roll a such and so, go do blah. So we're literally just going to follow through this. And if I get killed off in a very gruesome fashion very early, I'll just go ahead and roll up another one, and we'll go from there. But I want to see where this goes. Okay. So, 8. The driver smokes and watches you as you drag your cases to the back of the motor coach. The rack is set inconveniently high on the vehicle. You get a grip on the heavier case. If your size is 40, go to 23. If your size is higher than this, go to 38. Our size is 50. We're going to 38. The driver continues to enjoy his cigarette, watching with keen interest as you struggle with the cases. You grit your teeth and heave the second one into place. Perhaps the residents of Arkham will have better manners. Go to 233. So some of these are just clearly a bit of filler. Okay. The driver flicks his cigarette into the gutter and steps into the motor coach. Its engine coughs into life. You board, grateful that you will be the only passenger for the initial part of your trip at least. With mixed emotions, you watch from the window as the tired avenues of your old home slip behind you, receding into the distance. For a few minutes, you can still see the church spire over the brow of a low hill. Then the road dips and it, too, is gone. Arkham is your new home. You will travel there and make a new start. You'll see 2 smaller boxes to the right of each characteristic value. Halve each value, rounding down, and write the result in the upper right box. Also divide each value by 5, again rounding down, and write the result in the lower right box. We'll use these numbers later. In the strip below, you'll see tracks that record sanity and magic points. Beginning sanity is equal to your original power, and beginning magic points are the same as the value you just assigned for power divided by 5. Mark these on the tracks. All right, that's a little math hammering. Okay, so they give you a handy-dandy table for this crap in book 2. Ta-da! Okay, so have everything. Okay, so half of 80 is 40. Half of 60 is 30. 25, 25, 25, 30, 20, 35. And fifth everything. 10, 10, 10, 8. 60 is 12. 70 is 14. 60 is 12. 80 is 16. Okay. Then it says beginning sanity. Sanity. Okay. Starting is equal to your original power, which is 60. Beginning magic is the same value just assigned for power divided by 5. So 12. Okay. And then go to 134. Doing it. The coach putters through the countryside. At first, the interior is stifling and your stomach lurches with every bend in the road. However, the driver opens his window. By switching seats, you find a spot where the breeze hits your face. You soon relax into the journey, observing the quaint little hamlets that the coach serves. A heavyset woman boards at one settlement and gives you a polite nod. She gets off at the next one. The road rises a little, passing cornfields and orchards. The leaves are turning and the trees are alive with glorious reds and golds, just like now. You have just begun to doze when the driver takes a tight bend at speed. So it says, add size and constitution together, then divide the total by 10, rounding down. This is the starting value for your hit points. So size is 50, constitution is 50, so that's 100, divided by 10 is 10. So that's our starting hit points. Okay. You also have a luck score. Roll 3 6-sided dice, 3d6. Finally, some dice rolling. Multiply your 3d6 roll result by 5 to get your beginning luck score and mark it on your investigator sheet. Okay, so we have a 1. We have a 5, so that's 6. And a 3 for 9. Multiply that by 5, so 45 luck. All right. Now you must make a roll against your dexterity. Roll 1d100. In case you have no idea how that's done with any of these dice, you have what's called percentile dice. They look like these. They're 10-sided each. Okay. One has single digits, so that's your single numbers. And one has double digits, that's your 10. So if I roll a 70 and a 2, that's just 72, for example. A 0, a double 0, is either 100, if you also roll 0 on this one, or it's a single digit. If you roll like a 1 and a double 0, it's just 1. So it says roll a dexterity. This means rolling two 10-sided dice and using one value for the tens and one for the units. If you rolled equal to your dexterity or less, you pass the roll. If you roll greater than your dexterity, you fail the roll. So our dexterity is 60. So if I go under 60, we pass. If we go over 60, we fail. 46. So we pass. If you pass the dex roll, go to 261. Okay. See how this works. Not too bad. A desperate yell awakens you. You feel yourself slide from the seat as the driver spins the wheel and the motor coach plunges off the road. You grab hold of the seat in front just in time to prevent a painful fall. The coach stops with a thump. Now you see what has happened. A Fordson tractor is stopped in the road and your driver has had to swerve to avoid this steel obstacle. He leaps from his front seat into the road, unleashing a string of curses at the farmer. You take a moment to catch your breath. Perhaps you should offer assistance? But the driver has already returned. He backs the coach up a little and threads it around the tractor, glaring at the farmer. Go to 71. Hey, Paladin, welcome in. "71. You resume your journey. The driver takes the curves with more caution than before. He glances over his shoulder at you a couple of times. Sorry about before, he says. That fellow was dumber than a hog. I'm Silas. What's your name? The accident was at least as much Silas's fault as the farmer's, but it doesn't seem shrewd to antagonize the man while he's driving you through the middle of nowhere. Make up a name for your character and record it on your investigator sheet. Yes, we are indeed Ravenclaw McGillicuddy. Yes, a friend gave me that name. No, I'm not going to change it. Nope, nope, and nope. One second. All right. You may add your age for the purposes of this adventure. Your character should probably be aged between 23 and 36. How rude. 38. The coach turns onto a narrower road which weaves uphill through woodland. Silas becomes chatty. Going to Arkham, eh? Can't say I ever heard of the place. Went to Boston once, didn't like it. Too much hustle and bustle. You got family there? Special someone waiting? The afternoon is wearing on. You see no harm in confiding in Silas about your new life. A job, eh? What's your line? Choose an occupation for your character from the following options. If you are an antiquarian, go to such and so. A doctor of medicine, go to blah, blah, blah. A journalist, go to blah, blah, blah. A private investigator, go to blah, blah, blah. A professor, go to blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go with professor because they typically have a very good survival rate in these stories. Not always, but yeah. So we are Professor Ravenclaw McGillicuddy. 265. You explain you are joining the faculty at the renowned Miskatonic University. It's only a junior position with teaching and tutoring duties, but the institution is well regarded. Who knows where the appointment might lead? A symposium, a visiting lectureship, even one of its world-spanning expeditions. Silas wrinkles his nose. I had enough of book learning when I was a young'un. Still, I suppose it's well enough for those who likes it. Your credit rating skill is 30%. Great, I have a credit score. All right, where do I throw this crap? As you can see, there are a ton of skills here. Okay, so credit rating is 30. Your occupation skills are library use. Let's see. Allocate the following values among these occupational skills, writing them in a large square beside each: 70, 60, 60, 50, 50, 50, 40, 40. Ignore any starting value already mentioned on the investigator sheet. Okay, so library use, other language, specify one. I have no idea. Own language and psychology. You may also pick 4 other skills, not Cthulhu Mythos, as relevant academic or personal specialties. Allocate the following values. Okay, fine. So, library use, other language, own language, and psychology. All right, well, let's make this interesting. So, let's do library use 50 because it's always, you're going to have to do research at some point, I bet. Psychology 50 because sure. Own language and other language. And where's languages? Where are the languages? Okay, here we go. Language own. Well, he's going to be pretty smart, so we'll do 60 on that one. We'll do a 40 on other language, and let us say French. Because that comes up every once in a while in Lovecraft. Once in a while. Okay, so we have 4 more skills. Let's do fighting. We've done 2 50s. We'll do our third 50 at fighting, brawl. Because why not be a little badass? Praise anthropology. What else do we want? First aid we're probably going to need. Why don't we do another 60 on that? Why don't we do 70 on stealth and just be really, really crafty? So I have a 50 and let's see, 1, 2, no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more skill. 70, 60, 60, 50, 50, 50. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have one more. That's going to be a 40. Yeah. Let's do a 40 on the listen. Because why not? Okay. Go to 128. You realize Silas hasn't made a stop since the incident with the tractor. The motor coach winds its way uphill. However, your thoughts are interrupted as the road crests a ridge and you are treated to a magnificent view of the vista below. A creek snakes through the valley, breaking the rich autumn palette of the tree line. In the distance, the white mountains rise into hazy cloud. There is no settlement, not even a cabin, as far as the eye can see. Birds drift through the treetops, and you can just make out what might be two white-tailed deer lingering by the water. Perhaps you're making a mistake by moving into the city. Could you survive on your own in this lush wilderness? You have a base ability and most skills listed in brackets after the skill name on the investigator sheet. For instance, you have 20% in climb and a base dodge equal to half your dexterity. Choose 4 skills, which are not your occupation skills nor Cthulhu Mythos. These are your personal interest skills. Boost each of these by 20 points. At this point, you may like to calculate half and 1/5 values for each skill in the same way you did, yada yada. Okay, fine. So choose 4 skills, not your occupation skills. Oh, I get it. So we can't do the ones where we already have percentages. So I need to move some of these. No, I don't actually. Hang on. Hang on. See, that's kind of dumb here. They don't differentiate between occupational skills other than the things you already chose. They're all just skills. Okay, fine. So boost each of these by 20 points. Okay, fine. So we are going to do... Okay. So we're going to do... Fast talk, which becomes 25. We're going to do firearms, which becomes 40. Handgun, not big stuff. We'll do locksmith, which becomes 21. And we will do spot hidden, which becomes 45. I'm not going to bother with the whole half and fifth thing until we actually need it. So, yeah. Maybe that's a bad idea, but I don't really care. We're doing it. All right. Yeah, it even says you can leave the map until it becomes necessary. Thank you. All right, going to 144. The motor coach rattles on through the hills and Silas lapses into silence. The sky darkens behind you, pink stinting the clouds as the sun descends. Finally, a welcome sight comes into view, a settlement on the crest of a hill. This doesn't look like the pictures you've seen of a sippy, but perhaps you can persuade Silas to stop while you stretch your legs. Minutes later, a harsh stuttering from the engine interrupts your reverie. Silas frowns and rattles the gear stick. The motor coach falters in its ascent. Silas utters a curse you don't recognize and grinds his teeth, struggling at the wheel. You seem to inch up the hill until you reach the first buildings, low dwellings constructed from a rough red stone. Silas wrestles the coach into the small bay off the road. He scrambles from his seat and makes for the engine compartment. You must now choose to make a roll against Drive Auto or Psychology. If you choose Drive Auto, you will need to roll equal to or less than half the skill value. If you choose Psychology, you need a hard success. This is a roll equal to or less than half of the skill value, the number in the upper right box. You may attempt only one skill roll. Okay, so we can either basically do something with the car, or we can do something with Psychology. Psychology, we've got a better rate at. We've got a 20 on Drive Auto. Well, we need a hard success on that one, equal to less than half the skill value. So the skill value is 50. So we need under a 25. We have a 1 in 4 chance of making this. Equal to or less than the skill value if we try Drive Auto, which is 20. So I'm going to try Psychology because yar. So we need 25 or under. Crap. 42. If you roll success against Drive, roll hard success against Psychology. If you fail roll, go to 194. All right. Silas opens the engine compartment open and sticks his head inside. The hot metal pops and sizzles. He pokes at various components, then withdraws and wipes his brow, smearing it with dark grease. I ain't sure what's wrong. Might be the oil pressure, might be something knocked off kilter when we took that spill. Can't do much until the engine cools neither. With the light failing, I reckon we'll be here through the night. He wipes his hands on a rag. The shadows from your surroundings are already long and the air is chilly. You feel stiff from the journey, and a night in the rickety coach sounds unappealing. Silas sees your dismay. There's this Emberhead, miles from any place. I only come through twice a week, but folks here are good people. May Ledbetter keeps a spare room. She'll look after you. Up that alley, turn right, first house on the left. He scratches his cheek, looks again into the engine compartment, and spits on the ground. We can be back here at 8 in the morning, and we'll see how we stand. To look for May Ledbetter's house, go to 267. To ask Silas where he will spend the night, go to 251. To challenge Silas about the breakdown, go to 257. Well, so we have a choice here. We can either just go right to the house, we can ask where he's going to stay, or we can basically chew him out about the car breaking down. I don't feel like being a douche, so we're not going to challenge him about the car. I am a little curious about where he's going to go because obviously I know how quickly things can go sideways in this universe. So I think I'm going to ask him where he's going for the night. 251. You ask about Silas's plans. He gives an engine a sour glance before answering. I've got acquaintances here in the village. Reckon one of them owes me a favor, enough for bed and breakfast in any case. He stares at his grubby hands. Probably won't stretch to a hot bath. You don't seem to have a lot of options. You fetch your cases from the back of the motor coach. The last thing you need is for all your worldly possessions to disappear into some stranger's hovel overnight. Go to 267. So we are going to May Lead What's-Her-Faces anyway. You drag your cases between the sullen buildings. You feel surprisingly weary considering you've spent all day sitting down. Silas's directions lead you to a modest dwelling with a slate roof. A nameplate reads Ledbetter, and underneath a sign in a neat copper plate reads Lodging Room. The lane around you is gloomy, but a lamp flickers in the window. A breeze chills your face. You're not about to begin your new life by sleeping in the street. You rap on a weather-beaten door. Go to 4. After a moment, you hear footsteps inside the house. A bolt is drawn back and the wooden door swings open. A figure with loose curls and a rough-looking house dress peers at you. Her gaze takes in your traveling suit and your cases. Her voice has a slight Irish lilt. Hello, should I take it as you're looking for a room for the night? You inquire as to her rates, suppressing a grimace. As far as you've seen, the village does not offer you many alternatives. Oh, you'll find them very reasonable, she says. You look tired. I may. Come inside and we'll talk over a cup of tea. The Ledbetter house feels cramped with a low ceiling and simple fittings, but it is well kept and a cheerful fire crackles in the grate. The aroma of the tea is soothing and the cup warms your fingers. Have you come to Emberhead for the festival? Asks May. All right, we got another option here. To explain what happened with Silas in the coach, go to 14. To ask about the festival, go to 21. I'm probably going to be lied to horrendously if I ask about the festival, but me explaining that Silas broke down might get me a discount. I want a discount because, I mean, this game is out to kill me anyway, so why not? Why not? 14 it is. May shakes her head and you glimpse a moment of deep-seated anger in her green eyes. He always drives too fast. Thinks the road is made for him and him alone. You hit a mare some years back and that was a terrible thing. You should have seen the state of the coach. You'd be surprised at the damage done. She sips her tea and gazes past you into the corner of the room. With living here, though, we can't afford to antagonize the man. He's about the only link we have to the world at large. He's not a bad soul at heart. I suppose that going the same route for 15 years makes a man careless. You may to forgive him. May goes silent for a long moment, then her eyes flick back to you. But she didn't come here to listen to me blather, and you must be hungry. I can rustle you up a bit of stew. How would that be? You ask again about her rates, and May names a price so low you accept it without hesitation. The room is small but comfortable, and the stew dark and hearty. After dinner, you have a couple of hours before your usual bedtime. To talk to May some more, go to 31. To walk around outside and get your bearings, go to 75. To turn in for an early night, go to 63. Well, it's dark, so what bearings am I going to get in the 20s? I'm going to talk to May. Maybe I'll find out about this festival now. So 31. May talks about life in Emberhead. In her letters, my sister always asks if I'm not bored living in such a small place. She lives in New York. Then she writes about how frightened she is to walk home at night. I ask you. You mention your hopes for a new life in Arkham. May doesn't seem to hear you. It's a small place here, yes, but that means we have real community. Everybody's face is known. Everybody works together. Nobody is excluded, except those who choose to exclude themselves, of course. I couldn't live anywhere else now. Make a charm roll. If you succeed, go to 39. If you fail, go to 51. Charm is 15, so we have to roll under 15. 32, we suck. Okay, fail, go to 51. As the hour wears on, you are amused to hear May transform into a sort of tired tourist guide. Of course, the views from here are spectacular on a good day, a clear view all the way round. If you're a painter, it'll be right at home. If your tastes run more to the artisan, there are workshops on Silbury Street, just at the end here, and turn right. They're not set up for visitors, you understand, but you'll see the real craftsman at work, the genuine article. Now, if you're looking for a freshly baked bread, it seems a shame to point out that you intend to be on the road again shortly. You may continue until she begins to yawn. Would you listen to me yapping? Time to turn in. When would you like your breakfast? Now go to 63. As May stands, you hear a clunk behind you. You look over your shoulder, but all you can see is a wooden door securely closed. Patty, Grendel, welcome in. I missed you guys. We are basically a professor named Ravenclaw McGillicuddy. We have gone into a car ride going from some town to Arkham to take up work in Miskatonic University. Our car, however, broke down. The driver is trying to fix it and is fairly inept. We are at a wonderful woman's house named May Ledbetter, and she's blathering about the town. Okay. As May stands, you hear a clunk behind you. You look over your shoulder. All you can see is a wooden door securely closed. May tuts. The young lady of the house should have been listening to us. Ruth, come and greet our guest. There is a short pause, then the door creaks open. Two wide eyes peer at you from the gap between tousled hair and a rough nightgown. What do you see? The eyes blink. Pleased to meet you. Now get back to bed. The door closes again. My daughter, Ruth, 10 years this summer. She's a delight and a torment all in one. Don't worry. She sleeps in with me. She'll not disturb you. Good night now. You retire to your room. It is a little chilly, but you are too tired to worry about lighting the fire. The sheets are clean and the bed soon warms up. The silence outside is strange after living in a town for so long, but you soon drop off. Go to 154. Yeah, Patty. It's kind of like choose your own adventure. You dream of fire in the grate, coruscating colors shimmering through the dancing tongues of flame. At first they're tiny, almost microscopic, but they grow and grow until a kaleidoscopic inferno spills from the fireplace, spreading across the floor, up the sheets. You wake with a start. Daylight glints through the curtains. You get up and examine the grate, blinking the sleep from your eyes. It is quite cold. If you have taken any damage, you may heal 1 point back from your night's sleep. We didn't. Now go to 166. May seems to have no running water, but has supplied some in a ceramic jug. You freshen up at the washstead and go in. She cooks a hearty breakfast and leaves you in peace to eat. At about 7:30, you are paid up, packed, and ready to go. You bid May goodbye, and she wishes you the best for your new career in Arkham. If you succeeded at a skill roll last night and wish to investigate the results further, go to 178. Otherwise, go to 192. We failed. 192. You are already tired of your heavy bags. Hopefully Silas has repaired the motor coach and you can resume your long journey. A sourpuss he might be, but the old driver seemed to understand his vehicle well enough. You pause to check your watch, still 20 minutes early, and round the final corner, the motor coach is gone. You put your bags down and search the area, tracking up and down slopes and around corners. At the edge of the village, you trace the long road back as it winds across the hills. 8 o'clock comes and goes. There is no coach to be seen. That ratfink. You put your bags down. A passing villager notices your bags. Looking for the bus. I heard him take off at first light. He's due back in 3 or 4 days. If you need a place to stay, May Ledbetter lent a room. The man raises his hat to you and strolls into the village. You curse Silas under your breath. Perhaps he went for parts, but you wonder if the old goat has stranded you here on purpose. Go to 218. Block the door. Don't go to sleep without blocking the door unless you like fish visitors. Yeah, we're not quite in Innsmouth here. Besides, the title is Alone Against the Flames. So I don't think we're getting drowned anytime soon, Patty. But good thinking. Good thinking. Okay, 218. May is doing laundry and looks surprised to see you again. Forgot something. When you explain the situation, she offers to store your bags while you try to arrange alternative transport. You are grateful to relinquish the load. Nobody here has anything like a car. She strokes her chin and narrows her eyes. Maybe you could find somebody with a horse and a cart for your bags. I could ask around later. Try Mr. Winters at the village hall. He'll know if anyone will. Or ask along the artisans. Their workshops are first left on Silbury Street. She reaches over and squeezes your wrist. Don't worry. I won't see you sleeping in the street, money or no money. You thank May and turn to face the village. That is May. I don't want to get into a fight with her. Go to 6. You wander the streets of Emberhead without any particular destination in mind. The village is built on a relatively flat upland with splendid views. To the north, the hazy tips of the White Mountains reach for the heavens. To the south, the sparkling waters of Lake Winnipesaukee touch the horizon. The village itself takes less than 5 minutes to cross from edge to edge. You arrived on the winding road to the west. The only other road travels to the south, following a lower ridge of land as it turns east. In the southwest of the village, an open grassy space borders a ruined church, its graveyard cresting the cliffs. To the northeast, the three main thoroughfares meet at a raised black metal structure. It looms stark against the blue sky. You may now ask about transport at the local general store, seek out the village hall, walk down to the lower level and check out the eastern road, examine the large metal structure, explore the church, look for local people with their own transport needs. This is a tough one. Because, like I said, the game is probably out to kill us. And whether we like it or not, we're probably going to be stuck in this town. So I don't know about the roads. Going to a church or going to a structure, I mean, usually characters get in trouble when they do that kind of thing. Haunter in the Dark, the guy goes into church. The stone in the upward end of the belfry knows about him, and he ends up getting zapped a couple weeks later. Metal structure, good Lord knows what deity in Cthulhu we're dealing with here. Transport is probably not a thing. We're probably not going to find a horse and a cart. I think I'm going to go to the village hall. Yeah, I'm going to go to the village hall. So that's 84. The village hall backs against a cliff at the east end of Silbury Street. It's the largest building you've seen so far in Emberhead. It is, however, locked and shuttered. You walk around it, peering through gaps in the shutters. There seems to be one large room, presumably for community meetings, and a smaller annex that serves as an office and archive. One of the windows is bricked up. Back at the main door, you can see no posted opening hours. Mr. Winters doesn't open up mornings this time of year, says a gray-garbed woman passing by. Best come back this afternoon. You ask whether the office has a telegraph. Don't know, she shrugs. Who would we call? You'll have to try again later. Go to 25. Make yourself home among the villagers. Good choice. Yeah, I mean, they're either going to help me or kill me. One of the two, right? $25. You're beginning to get your bearings in Emberhead. Would you like to explore some more? You may choose an option from below. Do not repeat a previous choice once you've tried 4 options, or before that, if you're ready to move on, go to 3. Okay, so remember 25, because we might just come back to this. We can ask about transport at the local garage general store. Seek out the village hall. We did that. Walk down to the lower level, check out the eastern road, examine the large metal structure, explore the church, or look for local people with their own transport needs. Locals are probably not going to be leaving. That's the thing. This is like a little town. A woman just asked, what's the point of a telegraph? So nobody's going anywhere. So screw that. I'm going to check out the eastern road. And just to be on the safe side, I'm kind of going to bookmark this so I don't forget it. 25. Got to remember. Thank you, Patty. I'm going to just bookmark it anyway. Okay. I'm thinking Eastern Road just because I want to know how to get the hell out of here. It's not like you're going to go off into the wilderness. And I know darn well there's nobody else going to be leaving. I know there's not going to be a way out of here. I kind of know that already. And the structure in the church, something's going to happen. Like we're going to thicken the plot here, but something's going to happen. So I'm going to check out the road and probably come back here, and then I'll do one of the other two. So be thinking with large metal structure or church, one of the two to explore. And I will leave this one up to chat. Whatever you guys pick, I will do. Okay. So lower level, check out Eastern Road 115. The air is fresh and the walk down to the lower ridge invigorating. You notice cultivated fields stretching through the lowlands around Emberhead, and among the crops some livestock but no horses. Are you going to have to make your onward journey on foot? Further down, the road skirts the edge of the ridge and descends. There are a few scattered hovels here with signs of habitation. They are set a substantial distance apart. As you examine them, a door opens and an older man steps out. He wears a bedraggled suit but carries a piece of cloth, which he tosses over his head like a hood. As he does this, he sees you and freezes. Make a luck roll. If you succeed, turn to 127. If you fail, turn to 135. Okay. Luck is 45. So we need to roll 45 or under. Why? That is 98, I believe. Yeah, 98. Okay. We fail. 135. Reconnection successful. Why, thank you. I'm glad you reconnected. So glad. Let's see. Okay, so again, just in case that cut off, the strange man breaks into a run, fleeing from you along the ridge. His gait is lopsided, but his movements have a maniacal intensity. If you give chase, turn to 150. If you have better things to do, turn to 160. The old ones are stopping you at every turn. Well, duh, they're old ones. That's what they're going to do. Of course they're stopping me at every turn. Okay, fine. Let's try and chase this guy down. Let's thicken the plot on our own. You break from the road and pursue the man, feeling wild grass snatch at your feet. He sprints around the ridge, attempting to elude you behind the very rocks that support the metal structure high above. Having some never-ending Old Ones vibes. Yes, yes we are. To catch the man, you must make an opposed roll with your dex versus his. The man has dex 38. He scores a hard success on a roll of 19 and under, and an extreme success on a roll of 7 and under. Make the man's dex roll, then make your dex roll. Compare your level of success. Okay, fine. So we're going to make his roll. So he gets hard success on 19 or under, extreme success on 7 and under, and fails anything over. So let's see. 66. So he hardcore fails that one. Okay, so he has a 66. Compare your level of success. An extreme success beats a hard success, which beats a regular normal success, which beats a failure. If this is a draw, the higher skill value wins. So our dex is 60. So if we get under that, no matter what, give me a name, Bursky. It's called unnameable. What do you mean give you a name? Yeah, I don't even know here, man. All right. Yeah, we have a 12. We extreme succeed the hell out of him. If you win the opposed skill roll, go to 172. You draw close to the man. He glares over his shoulder and sees you. Damn you, he spits and slows down. Can't you leave a fellow be? You assure him you mean him no harm. What do you mean I mean him no harm? Maybe I want to punch him in the face for making me run and win myself. We can't talk here, he says. Follow me. I don't want to follow him. I don't want to follow him. You follow the man around the outcrop. He glances up, then steps between two rocks and vanishes. Ooh. Closer inspection reveals a narrow channel leading into the cliff. There is just enough light to see a small natural chamber within. You will be uncomfortably close to this man if you go inside. To follow him in, turn to 191. To keep your distance, turn to 160. Okay. So we have reached what way is up. Because if we go in, we are very likely to get into fisticuffs or just instant jumped no matter what. And if we don't, then we're not going to find a thing out here. Chat, what do you think? We can follow him in, or we can keep your distance. What do we do? I'm seriously thinking if we like go in, something is just instantly going to happen, and we're gonna wake up like tied to a bench or something, or having some weird ritual done to us as we're running around in SpongeBob underpants or something like that. I'm just a little like terrified. He said leave him be. Right. Well, yeah, we could, but I mean, he lives in the village. He knows where I'm going to be staying. So, Patty, I'm guessing you're saying keep your distance. Anybody else? Any other votes? Maybe there's someone else inside with him in trouble that needs saving. It's 50-50 now. Okay. Tie vote. I'll give it a minute, and if anybody else pipes up, I will go with that decision. Otherwise, I will just roll a d6. Evens is we go in. Odds is we get the hell out of Dodge or keep distance at least. We may get sucked in anyway. We may be screwed at this point. Go for it. Okay, we're going in. Grendel, thank you. Follow him in, turn to 191. Let's get it on. With wary steps, you squeeze between rocky outcrops and enter the concealed chamber, almost banging your head on the low ceiling. The man settles back against the wall and watches until you draw close. Then he slides back his hood. Make a sanity roll. If you fail, lose 1 sanity, then go to 199. So our sanity is 60. We are about to see some stuff. So we need to get under a 60 here. 37. So we are good. So we keep sanity and go to 199. Some of the man's face remains. A strip from the side of his jaw to the right eye socket is healthy and pale, if aged. But the left side is consumed by angry scar tissue. One eye droops, hooded by melted flesh, and the nostril on that side is pulled open to leave a gaping hole. The disfigured man studies your reaction with his one good eye. Name's Arbogast. Willard Arbogast. Guess I don't need to ask what brings you to Emberhead. If you claim to have come for the festival, go to 206. If you admit that Silas has stranded you here, go to 214. Meet it head on and break the sanity. Well, yeah, we met it head on. We didn't break the sanity, though. Let's get ready to fumble. Well, I mean, I don't know. I was thinking he was going to be like a Wilbur Whateley type deal where he was like a monstrosity or something, and it looks like he's just injured. So, fine. We did not ask May about the festival. We do not know anything about the festival. We have no idea what the festival is. I know the festival is a story by Lovecraft about somebody basically taking on crazy-ass powers, but I don't know that we want to go there and assume that's this festival. It is probably knowledge of anyone who is going to do stuff that Silas has stranded me here, but this could be like the crazy old guy in Shadow over Innsmouth who will only talk to you in a quiet place. So I am going to admit that Silas has stranded me here and go to 214. That swollen mouth gives a little twist downwards. Son of a devil has rat's blood. His fingers tighten into a fist. Go to 221. Uh-oh. Arbogast fixes you with a lopsided yet intense stare. You seek me out, eh? He looks up at the cave ceiling. Which one of them told you about me? Never mind, it don't matter. Truth is, they fear what I know. They'd never come at me direct. Don't want to end up like old Arbogast. He giggles. The high-pitched sound is all the more grotesque coming from those bloated lips. Then abruptly his gaze turns to iron. Emberhead died 40 years ago, shattered by flame, consumed by the stars themselves. The ancient hill was cleansed by inferno, and from the blackened ground came new life as the way of all things. The Abenaki knew. Arbogast wipes his nose on his sleeve. Except none of that happened. The flames were turned away. The necessary death postponed a year, and a year again. And now those up there, he stabs a scrawny finger at the ceiling, think themselves saviors of the village. Think they can defy the great old ones. Yeah, Kuthaga. He shakes his head. With strange eons, their lives matter less than the blink of an eye. A fierce intelligence burns in his gaze, but you suspect Arbogast may be quite insane. Should his mood change, it would not be difficult for him to seize one of those loose rocks and crack your skull with it. To ask Arbogast about the Abenaki, turn to 227. To ask him about the Great Old Ones, turn to 237. To ask him about the villagers, turn to 245. To leave while you still can, go to 253. Well, I think I know what the safe play here is. Excellent voice work. Thank you, Patty. I am trying my darndest, despite having zero New Englander in me, really. Okay, so we can ask him about the Abenaki. We can ask him about the Great Old Ones. We know what they are. Ask him about the villagers, or get the hell out of Dodge. Lizzie is very, very much for getting the F out. In case you didn't hear her. Sorry, Wales, if you're listening, we swear sometimes. All right, guys, what do you think? Do we bite the bullet, or do we get out of Dodge and try and keep our underwear from turning brown? Carrie, I agree with Lizzie. Asking too much would be sus. I mean, the whole thing's going to be sus, Carrie. I don't know if you've read Lovecraft, but most people come to a very bad end. The idea here is like, hey, man. Patty's Parlor, you're here now. I guess that means I'm asking questions. Dad? You watching one of my live streams? Oh my goodness. Welcome in. All right, so Carrie and Lizzie want me to run for the hills. I'm basically confronting this dude that's like deformed and psycho, and he knows about the old ones, and he knows about something called the Abenaki, which I don't totally remember. And okay, Patty and Dad want me to go for it. I think I'm going for it. We can ask him about villagers, Abenaki, or great old ones. He's speaking old speech. It's a 50-50 again. Nah, it's fine. I'm going with this one. I want to get into this. Ask about the villagers, investigate. Okay. So we're going to ask about the villagers first. We're going to go to 245. Arbogast's face twists, creasing the scarred cheek. Pfuh! Their fathers and mothers knew the truth. They listened. They knew their doom and found their place within it. They looked into their own hearts and did the unspeakable. The current brood have the arrogance of children. Everything has been given to them, and they assume it always will. He glares at the cave ceiling. They would that I left, or died, that I took the old words with me. But mark what I say, those who live in high places have further to fall. Arbogast runs a hand through his hair. A wide strip is missing on the left side, displaced by scar tissue. He climbs to his feet. Go to 259. Arbogast pauses in the shadows. There's something about you, something the previous ones never had. Perhaps you can make it through. If you want to hear more, meet me again after dark, 9 o'clock, the graveyard on the other side. He lifts a gnarled finger. Don't be followed, else I won't be there. This ain't the time of year for a showdown. Arbogast wipes his nose on his sleeve again. Go now, their eyes are on me. And stranger, don't try to run, you'll never make it. You emerge into the sunlight blinking and more than a little shaken. You have discovered a secret. Later tonight, the text will offer you a chance to follow up on a previous appointment. At that point, if you want to meet with Arbogast again, add 20 to your current entry number and go to that new entry. Huh? $20 to your current entry number. $259 would be $279. There isn't a $279. For now, go to $160. I don't get that. That kind of drops you off a cliff. It's just like, Excuse? Later tonight, the text will offer you a chance to follow up on a previous appointment. At that point, if you want... Okay, so it's probably that number. So we're just going to mentally remember... I think so, yeah, Patty. So I'm getting rid of this other bookmark, and I'm just going to throw this down and go... I'm going to write 259. The entries, Dad, this runs like a choose your own adventure. It tells you like what happens as you read, go to number whatever. This is like a solo RPG play. So 259, and it says, I'm just going to say appointment with Arbogast. Add 20. Okay. And I'm just going to keep that down here. Yeah, exactly. I think you're right. That's somebody who isn't super familiar with these might screw that up. So if this ever gets back to the game devs, they might just want to make that a little clearer. But that's I can think with it. Most people, some people might not. So all right, we're gonna go to 160. All right, so Arbogast. Entry 25 we're done with because we did the other options, I think. So okay. No, actually, I'm wrong. We're going back to 25 after this. So 160. You turn back to the road in your core business, getting out of Emberhead and onwards to Ossippi. The ridge gives you a good viewpoint from which you can see the course of the road. It winds with the hills, disappearing into woodland for a while before emerging further on. You lose sight of it somewhere towards a second patch of woodland. By your best estimation, that is at least 6 or 7 miles distant. You see no other settlements or traffic. It may be worth taking a chance and walking. The weather is still mild, but you will need supplies before you attempt it. Go to 25. We're back to 25, Patty. So I guess we have... Yep. Choose another option from below. Do not repeat a previous choice. Once you've tried 4 options or before that, if you're ready to move on, go to 3. So we did the village hall. We just did the Eastern Road, which led us through that whole thing to Arbogast. Thank you, Grendel. Okay, so we have metal structure, church, look for local people, or ask about transport. I am not going to bother about transport because now we obviously have to... We're going to follow up with Arbogast. We need to find out what's going on here. So... church or structure? I think that's the question at this point. Metal, going with it. Metal structure, go to 57. You walk up the approach, the most central of the village's major streets. It points directly at the odd metal structure. As you emerge from the shade of the nearby buildings, you are greeted by a magnificent panorama spread from the north to the southeast. The last colors of fall tint the hills in a sleepy gold. The structure, by contrast, is made from uncompromising iron, singed black. It supports an immense curved platform at the level of your head. Further struts snake up to a central point. It looks like they may have been some kind of sculpture at one time, but are now twisted and melted beyond recognition. An older gentleman passes, looking up at you with rheumy eyes. "Are you here for the festival?" he asks. "That's the beacon. When they light it night after next, you'll be able to see it 10 miles away." He gives a little nod of satisfaction, then moves on, leaning on his walking stick. Now you notice bundles of wood tied and stacked against the buildings nearby. Perhaps this festival would be an interesting diversion, but you really must head to Arkham as soon as possible. Make a spot hidden roll. If you succeed, go to 69, otherwise go to 25. Spot hidden, we have a 45, because I buffed that a little bit. Okay, so we need to go under 45 here. 38, good. 69. As you walk away from the iron structure, you notice something strange about the construction of the village. All the wooden dwellings are concentrated in the west and southwest. To the east and northeast, closest to the beacon, the buildings are formed from dark brick and clay. Does this mean the settlement began at the beacon and spread west? You may now checkmark the small box beside the spot hidden skill. There's something about this, basically, whenever you succeed at one of these skills, you check the box to show you actually did it. And later on, that's something to do with experience or leveling up, I think. All right, now go to 25. So we're back to 25. We can do one more thing. So we have ask about transport, explore the church, or look for people, or we can just move on. We kind of know there's not going to be people. Again, there's not going to be transport. We're not getting out of here. That's pretty obvious plot-wise. We can do the church or we can move on. We're going to be back to the church anyway. I'm thinking it's going to be smart to check it out in the daytime. Like, we're already here. Yep, going to church. Okay. You cross the street towards the church. As you glance to your left, your gaze alights on the large metal structure. Something bothers you about its positioning. You back up and look again. Yes! Emberhead's central thoroughfare points directly at the structure. This seems too precise to be a coincidence. You press on and draw into the shadow of the church. The building is in a sorry state. The top of the steeple is missing, a ragged gash of splintered boards marking its absence, and the floors beneath it have collapsed. It appears to have torn through the roof of the main building as it fell. Only the back half is still intact. The white paint which once covered the church has yellowed and peeled. It seems safe enough to explore the rear section. Old pews are stacked against the wall, choked with mildew. Most of the windows are broken. You guess this church has been disused for about 20 years. There is little more to interest you. Okay, this says make a ride roll. You may have a bonus die. Roll the 10's percentage die twice and take the lower result. If you succeed, go to 46. Otherwise, go to 25. Hey, Ultra. Go to church. Get some holy water. Move on. Oh, wait. Church. Yep. Okay. Ride. We do not have a skill there, so that is just 0.5. That's just 5%. So we really are not likely to pass this. Let's see. Nope. 46. So just go to 25. So we're done with that. So go to 3. Your morning exertions have left you hungry. You roam the streets of Emberhead looking for sustenance. There is nothing resembling the busy cafes of your hometown or anything that might be called a restaurant. It is beginning to look like you will have to get supplies from the general store when May Ledbetter comes down the street with a girl trailing in her wake. This must be Ruth. As she notices you, she races past her mother and approaches you with a smile. This is a different Ruth from the shy creature of last night. As she reaches you, she stops and stretches her arms up in celebration. She looks up into your eyes. Abruptly, the smile drops from her face and she looks several years older. "Get out before the festival," she hisses. "Get out!" She blinks hard, then scutters back towards her mother. May approaches, wrapping an arm around her daughter's shoulders. She smiles. "How are you getting on? Have you found transport?" Startled, you explain the frustrations of the situation. "I'd try Mr. Winters in the village hall. He's always in the afternoon. You'll be hungry by now. Help yourself to any food in the house. The door's not locked." You glance at Ruth where she has squirreled herself behind her mother's leg. Her eyes implore you to silence. If you ask Ruth about what she said, go to 9. If you ask May about what Ruth said, go to 15. If you say nothing, go to 22. Okay, cool. So we have mom and daughter standing right there. If we ask either of them, the game is probably up, and we were told by Arbogast not to have followers. I'm going to play stupid and go to 22. Fish. Eat some fish. Well, I'm going to... Hey, man. You take your leave of the Ledbetters and head towards their house. The door opens easily. In the low kitchen, you make a meal from stodgy bread and leftover stew. A little window offers a view to the mountains. If you learned one thing this morning, it was that Emberhead streets hold little to occupy the visitor from out of town. But there are still about 5 hours of daylight remaining. You could take some provisions and the bare essentials from your luggage and set out in the hope of reaching another settlement before dark. Or you could ask advice from this Mr. Winters. If you prepare to walk out of town, go to 28. If you head to the village hall instead, go to 11. Okay. So I'm willing to bet if we try to leave, we will be turned around by something or other, possibly in a very friendly manner, possibly in a bash you over the head with a rock and monkey stomp you manner. So I think we're going to take the bait and go to the village hall and see about this Mr. Winters on 11. Okay. The village hall overlooks the lower north ridge of the village. You walk along Silbury Street to find it conscious of the oppressive black metal structure framed at the end of the road. The shutters of the hall are open and some windows left ajar. There is no knocker, but a little bell over the entrance tinkles as you push the front door. Inside, a sturdy door to your right is marked private. To your left, an opening leads through to a bright room. You take a few steps inside. Benches line the walls, and there are 2 notice boards mounted beneath the windows. To examine the notice boards, go to 17. To knock on the closed door, go to 24. I think we'll do the notice boards. Let's see what we can read. The floorboards creak beneath you as you cross the room. You feel a slight spring in your step. Perhaps this room is used as a gymnasium for the village children. One notice board appears to be for the adults of the community and one for the children. The former looks neglected, featuring handwritten advertisements for household items and a yellowed note about telegraph pricing. There is nothing about the festival. The children's notice board has a schedule for weekly creche services and a number of paintings obviously done by the children themselves. Aww. Most are incoherent, though colorful. As best you can tell, they depict fireworks or perhaps the tale of Joseph from the book of Genesis. One has lost a pin and hangs upside down. It shows a giant bird attacking Emberhead, or it might simply be that the artist has not yet mastered the subtleties of scale. Make a spot hidden roll. If you succeed, go to 30. If you fail, go to 37. Spot hidden, we have a 45. 62. Nope. All right, 37. We're failing on the dumb rolls. It's kind of what we could learn we're missing. The door scrapes behind you. A middle-aged, bespectacled gentleman appears in the doorway. May I help you? You explain you were visiting on May Ledbetter's recommendation. Ah, well, I'm Clyde Winters. I'm not sure I can help you, but would you care for some coffee? I'm partial to a cup in the afternoon. He gestures to the open door behind him. This seems like a worthwhile opportunity, and you are a little thirsty. Go to 43. You step through the door marked private. The other side of the village hall is in marked contrast to the public space. The room is compact, lined with shelves of books and file alcoves. One corner is reserved for a tiny pantry and what is presumably a water closet. You study Mr. Winters as he fills the percolator. Although thin on top, his hair is oiled and neatly swept back. His suit is a sober affair and well-tailored, even if the cut is a little old-fashioned. A lesser man working alone might have loosened his bow tie for comfort. On the desk against the opposite wall, you notice what looks like a telegraph set. To ask about the telegraph, immediately go to 56. To make small talk with Mr. Winters first, go to 49. What do you think, chat? Telegraph or chit-chat? Small talk. Okay. 49. The pot begins to gurgle as you exchange pleasantries with Winters. Living here, it's a trade-off, like so much in life. He looks past you at a high shelf. I could wish for access to a proper library, of course, but I know myself well enough. I'm strictly a dabbler. In the cities, his face wrinkles in distaste. Too many people, everybody rushing and shouting. We have a special place here in Emberhead, and somebody must accept responsibility for keeping it so. That was my father before me, and now the duty falls to me. He lifts his chin and straightens up. This evening, as the sun sets, look out at the landscape around the village. We have peace up here, halfway to the stars. Are we not privileged? Is this not worth the hardships we must accept? He looks at you speculatively. This seems a good time to ask about the telegraph. No phones, no telegraph, just fish people living in the now. Yep. Go to 56. The telegraph. Much as we value our isolation, we do need the link sometimes. You were hoping to send a message? I must apologize. The line has been down for 2 weeks. I reported the fault, but of course they're not so speedy when the problem lies in a rural area. I'm expecting a repair the day after next. I do appreciate how frustrating this must be. The coach is due in, 3 days? But I think he's going west. Perhaps you might engage a wagon. One of the farmers might. You explain that you have asked a few of the residents already, but to no avail. Okay, I'm calling that out as a little bit cheesy because we didn't ask any damn villagers. We skipped that one because we knew it wasn't going to work, like we just found out. All right, minor gripe over. I tell you what. Winters pours you a steaming cup of coffee. The dark liquid smells rich and strong. When the repair crew arrive, I'll ask them to take you back with them. How would that be? They might want $1 or $2 to grease the wheels. The day after tomorrow? It's less than ideal, but it's the first real opportunity you've had. To thank Winters and leave, go to 180. To ask about his library, go to 62. Might we chance hearing about the Necronomicon? Yep, I'm asking. 62. You make a small but flattering remark about a couple of the volumes on his shelves. Winters blushes with pleasure. Well, of course, they're not my personal collection. They belong to the village, he says. But I did select most of the recent items. This is the community's library, you see. I put up the private sign to stop people just wandering in from meetings in the other room. But this is really a public space. You scan the shelves. There is a sparse but respectable collection on mathematics and the sciences, passable selections on history and arts, and a shelf of literature. There's a few lowbrow novels tucked away in the corner with tatty copies of Bizarre Tales magazine. Quality does not always equate to popularity, I'm afraid. Winters gives you an apologetic smile. To take the time for some research in the library, go to 68. To leave while it's still light outside, go to 180. Ooh, okay. Now, we are good in library use, so we might actually find something here that tells us something about what's happening. But we have this ominous prompt to leave while it's still light outside. Personally, I would say risk it and go through the library. We'll probably learn something, get out, and then be in horrible, horrible danger. But we might know a little bit more about what we're dealing with and be able to use that. So, yeah, I'm going to do the stupid thing and read. Okay. Winters is happy for you to spend the rest, of the afternoon in study and offers you an upright but comfortable chair. You have enough time to pursue one line of research in depth. To read about the history of the area, go to 74. To read about the festival, go to 81. To read something from the sciences, go to 88. To read some of the weird fiction, go to 94. Okay, don't care about the sciences, first off. I know right well that I'm probably going to get something I already know or already have. Reading, that's never gotten anyone into trouble in Arkham. Well, you know, Miskatonic, blah, blah, blah. History of the area, festival, or weird fiction. I have a feeling the weird fiction is... It might actually give us something true here, but it could also just be gonzo. It could just be nothing. History of the area, okay, fine. Festival might give us something, might be a total lie. And I'm not really sure which at this point. It's just kind of, Okay, so Dad says festival. Patty, Grendel, Pal, what do you think? Ultra, what do you think? What are we gonna do? Carry for festival. Sorry, I can't see who's here. I just see the chat, but I don't really see all that. People die at the festival. I'm sure they do. They probably get barbecued. I'm thinking we do festival or weird fiction, and I'm thinking festival. And I've got basically 3 votes for festival. I'm going for it. Okay, festival, 81. You're not surprised to find there is no published work on Emberhead's festival. Winters pokes around and finds a cased monograph handwritten on yellowing paper by a Dr. Anielowski. An acquaintance of my father's, I believe, Winters says. The manuscript is somewhat difficult to read and you make slow progress. Anielowski speculates that the festival has its origin in pagan rites brought over by Celtic settlers, which celebrate the ancient festivals of Beltane, Samhain, Imbolc, and I'm going to butcher this one, Lugnasad. There is some discussion of the struggle between the seasons and a couple of oblique references to the alignment in Emberhead. Anielowski suggests that the meaning of the festival slowly changed around the turn of the century. The monograph terminates mid-sentence at the end of page 28, just as it begins to discuss the modern practices. You ask Winters if he has the remaining pages. No, I'm afraid those have been misplaced, he says. Perhaps they're still in the library somewhere, but he shrugs. I must make the time for a thorough stock take. Now go to 99. The afternoon wears on. You have not quite finished your reading when Winters glances out of the window and stands up. He clears his throat. Make a credit rating roll. Yay! Okay, so we have not terrible credit. We have a 30. Let's see. 4. Pass. If you succeed, go to 111. If you fail, go to 105. 111. I'm happy to leave you in charge for a half hour or so, he smiles. Please don't issue any books without a valid library card. You thank Winters for his trust and continue with your reading for a time. As the light dims, you find yourself yawning in the closeness of the room. Perhaps it is time for a change of material. Make a spot hidden roll. Okay, 45 or under. Minxie, good to have you. Scheiße. Oh my god, 41. We just made that by the skin of our... Never mind. Okay, let me catch you up, Minxie. We are playing the Call of Cthulhu roleplay game. We are basically a professor that was on our way to Arkham. And we were in a car on the road. This is in like the 1920s, and we're going through these little towns, and the car mysteriously breaks down. We spend the night at a rooming house in this little teeny tiny village, and we wake up and we go to explore, and we find a guy who's running away from us, and we chase him down into this weird little room. And he says that there's weird things going on in the town. There's a weird festival. There's these great old ones and this Abenaki thing, and something is going to happen. And if we meet him in the evening, he'll tell us about it, but don't bring any followers. We're meeting him in a cemetery. A little girl has told us to run for our lives. We haven't done that because, yeah. And we're in the library. There's like no way out of town. Nobody has a car. Nobody has a cart with a horse. There's telegraph guys coming to fix the line in like a day. Maybe we'll hook up with them if we live, blah, blah, blah. That's kind of where we're at. Okay, so we passed the spot hidden roll. If you succeed, go to 118. We basically were looking through the library trying to learn something, and we made a roll to like detect something, and we passed it. So as you scan the shelves, you try to move aside one of the 3 volumes of Walpole's A Comprehensive Grammar of the Andean Peoples. It will not shift, and upon further inspection, you find the 3 volumes are actually glued together and attached to the wall. Is this some kind of unobtrusive way to reinforce the shelves? You hear footsteps in the hall and on instinct move away from this curious discovery. Now go to 124. The door opens and Winters re-enters the library. He wears a small, satisfied smile. His gaze shifts to you where you stand at the shelves. Exhausted our stock already? Of course we accept donations, he chuckles. I'm afraid it's closing time. You leave the building with Winters and wait as he locks up. You thank him for the coffee and the access to the library. He strolls away down Silbury Street. Now go to 180. As the light fades, you return to the Ledbetter house and eat a light supper. May is unusually taciturn. Ruth's eyes flick to yours several times during the meal. May is the mother in the rooming house, and Ruth is her daughter. That's the one that told us to get out of town. There is an urgency there you cannot quite interpret. Afterwards, May ushers the girl into her room. You've been in Emberhead for barely 1 whole day, and you already feel confined by it, both geographically and socially. The evening seems to offer little. To do some stargazing, go to 131. To attempt to speak to Ruth, go to 138. If you have a previous appointment, this is the time to follow it up. Ooh. Okay, so the old guy we saw said to meet him in the graveyard, don't be followed, and he'll tell us the rest of the story of what's going on in this town. So, yeah, I think that's pretty obvious. We're going to try and sneak out of Dodge and go see Alabaster, Albatross, whatever the hell his name is. Previous appointment, add 20. Okay, we're at 180, so that's 200. Arbogast is not at the appointed meeting place. The scofflaw! I've been stood up. I wore a pretty dress. I did my hair. I smell like cupcakes. And the bastard has left us. Son of a bitch. Okay. You give him 10 minutes, but he doesn't show. You curse the old crank and head back towards May's house. Well, I did curse the old crank. Yes, Patty, you remembered. Psst. A hand snakes from a doorway and grabs your arm. You jump at the sight of that half-face glimpsed in starlight. One of them's near, he whispers. Watch it. Come with me. Go to 169. You got ghosted. In a graveyard, no less. All right. Arbogast leads you across the thoroughfare, slipping between houses. The metal structure looms at the end of the street. Silent now, he says, but the beacon will come alive tomorrow night. He ushers you into a little alcove behind the village school. Arbogast glances behind you, then sits down. Again, you feel uncomfortable in proximity to that scarred visage. One melted eyelid lifts.
You don't have long. Understand this. I was the conduit, the interpreter, before that fool Winters and his fancy words. The things which come to Amberhead care not for words. Those idiots think this is a ritual of sacrifice.
He spits on the grass.
It is a ritual of control. They know the words, but they do not comprehend the forces they call.
He sniffs and sits back.
No. You have no time for more questions. I will teach you how to end it in the moment when all is lost. You can return to this hill, to the earth, to the death that came 40 years ago. I've tried it myself, but
his head sags.
I no longer have the concentration. The chant is simple. I can teach it you, but you must perform it with the clarity of mind that I have lacked for years.
If you will learn this strange chant, go to 175. If you've had enough of Arbogast, go to 182. Catching up on chat here. Love this storytelling along with the game. I've never heard of this game. Yeah, this is Call of Cthulhu, Minxie. This is just a starter set, and this is like a solo sandbox adventure. It's like choose your own adventure style. If you choose blah, go to page blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I think as you got in, I caught you up pretty well, so you know what we're doing here. If you have a question, just chat it. Happy to go back. Okay, I think obviously being a professor and being who and what we are, and the fact that we haven't left the village, if we don't learn this thing, we're probably screwed at this point. So I think we're going to ask him to teach us, and yeah, we're going to see where that goes. Carrie, found the starter set on Amazon. Yeah, that's the one I got. It's not bad for what it is. And it gives you, I did like an unboxing at the beginning. I don't know if you caught that, but it gives you like more stuff. Like I'm just doing this solo game. It gives you 3 more to do with friends. Okay. I say we learn the chant. I don't know about you guys, but I think that's going to be our only chance of stopping something. And we may have to contend with, evil villagers or whatever the heck afterwards. Or we may inadvertently be summoning the thing. I don't know, but I think we learn it. So going to 175. You feel very dislocated from reality as you sit on a cliff top behind a school at night, learning a chant by rote from a madman. Arbogast is careful to teach you it in sections. He glances into the sky.
Won't work right now. Cloud covering the star.
But he still takes care not to pronounce the whole thing at once. It has a rhythmic beginning and various elaborations, but the core passage is repeated 3 times.
Funglui Naguafel Kthaka Formulat Nglagla Nafi Thagan Ya Kthaga.
In time, Arbogast listens to your recital and nods. Remember every sound,
but never speak it if you have plans left on this earth.
You've discovered a secret. If your situation ever becomes desperate enough to try Arbogast's ritual, the text will offer you the option to chant. At that point, if you want to try it, add 10 to your current entry number and go back to the new entry. Arbogast leans back.
It will make you one with the living.
Okay, so our thing is to remember the spell plus 10. And Carrie, it does give you dice. These are all you need. I have a slightly swankier set here. I didn't know. It's not my style of game I would play, but maybe I should get into it. We have a cute gamer cafe here with board games, card games, role play. Yes, you probably have people that play or know of this game there. And if you showed up with this and a couple people, like after you do the solo play, so you kind of learn stuff, you would have people to play with, I would bet. You could even Like I said, book 3 in this is a bunch of solo missions, and you could show up, and if there were people that wanted to play, you could walk them through that. So for like $30 US, you get all this. It's a good game. You could do a lot with it. Remember to chant add 10. Yes, thank you, Patty. You are my EBC. You are the extra brain cell. Okay. So Arbogast, I think, is getting cut off. I think somebody's saying something. So it says Arbogast leans back. It will make you one with the living. Pause. Go to 188. A black shape lunges from the dark. It wraps an arm around Arbogast's throat and drags him backwards out of the alcove. He grabs at the arm, kicking empty air. You see the gleam of a long blade in the moonlight. Make a dodge roll. So we about to get shanked, yo. Make a dodge roll. If you succeed, go to 195. If you fail, go to 203. Dodge, half dexterity. Our dexterity is 60, so we need to get 30 or under. Please, 30 or under. No, we fail. Okay. You fail, go to 203. Something smashes you on the temple. You reel back, you hear Arbogast yell and see the knife flash. 1, 2, 3 times. Its shiny surface darkening with blood. Something strikes you again, and as you sink, flames leap from the ground, painting the night with infernal color. They pick out 3 dark figures. Take 1d6 damage and go to 45. We take 2 damage. So we're at 8 hit points. Game is a TTRPG, much like D&D. Yes, this particular session is just to introduce people to the mechanics in their character sheet. Yes, it is. I loved running Cthulhu D20. It's probably my most favorite. I love taking old news headlines from the 20s throughout the 60s and then running a Cthulhu adventure with an alt history. It is a fun way to go, yeah. Okay. So go to 45. So we didn't get shanked. We just kind of got like knocked around, I think. You awake with a jolt, wrestling the blankets, ready for attack. The Ledbetter guest room is quiet, painted with morning light. There is nobody here but you. You release the blankets and wait for your heart to stop hammering. Go to 64. The Ledbetter's kitchen is empty, although bread and eggs have been laid out for your breakfast. There is a note from May explaining that she has taken Ruth out for a few hours. If you were involved in a fight in the village last night and want to investigate the aftermath, go to 70. Otherwise, go to 78. We were kind of in the village. Do we want to bother figuring out why we got smacked? I don't know what we're going to find, is all. Do you have a weapon? Run, hide, fight, bro. We basically were there. We got knocked out, and we woke up in the rooming house. As far as I know, we do not have a weapon. I know. I'd probably look around and like find a knife or something if I had the option, but this is really just kind of sandboxed. Basically, we have the option to go back and investigate and try to see what happened or see if we can find out anything, or get out of Dodge. It's daylight. I think we're going to poke around. We're going to go to 70. You feel skittish as you approach the spot where you and Arbogast were attacked. Your memory of the encounter is shaky, but you remember one or two vivid images. At first you think there is nothing to see, no discarded weapons or figures lying unconscious, but upon closer examination you find sticky, congealed patches and blackened lines in the grass. If the village had a police station, you could go there, but something tells you events have gone beyond that. Go to 78. So we're going to 78 anyway. We just basically find that, yeah, something went down. You make a quiet circuit of the village, pausing in unobtrusive places to watch the villagers. It is rather busy for this time in the morning. Yawning locals stream back and forward along the roads, carrying bundles of split logs to the site of what you've heard referred to as the beacon. You see two figures already up in its superstructure arranging the wood. The festival bonfire will be most impressive. But do you intend to stay to see it? You suspect by now that something is amiss here. While the villagers are distracted, you may do some illicit investigation, or you may simply leave town without looking back. You may now search May Ledbetter's bedroom, go alone to the village hall, take a closer look at the artisan's courtyard, spy on activity at the beacon, or slip down to the east road and flee for good. So, in our right minds, being a professor, we would probably run, but what the hell's the fun in that? So we're going to just nix that one. Search May's bedroom, go to the village hall, take a closer look at the artisan's courtyard, or spy on activity at the beacon. What do you think, chat? I don't know what we're going to find in the bedroom, really. Like, we might find a knife or something like that, but we're probably not going to find anything major. The village hall, we can go back to that library. Maybe we check out that weird hokey-fanokey bookshelf thing. Artisan's courtyard, we might find something useful. Beacon is just wood and a bunch of people, and we probably don't want to draw too much attention. I'm thinking courtyard or hall. What do you think? Dad says hall. One sec. Patty is going with Dad, says hall. All right. Yeah, let's try the hall. 126. Keeping away from the streets, you skirt the northern cliffs and approach the village hall from the rear. It's close to the beacon, and you will not be able to use the door unobserved. You check the windows. The one on the east side facing the beacon is bricked up. A shutter is loose on the westernmost window, and you are able to ease it open and slide inside, closing the shutter behind you. You drop into the village meeting room and pad through, passing through dim shafts of light and listening to the excited chatter of the locals from outside. The door opposite reads private. Hearing nothing from the other side, you turn the handle. Go to 133. The room is lined with books in the corner of a small water closet and a pantry. A quick survey of the rest of the room reveals little, so you turn to the bookcase. The dim light makes it difficult to read the spines. Is there anything useful here? Make a spot hidden roll. If you have examined the bookshelf before, you may have a bonus die. See page 14 of book 2 for instructions if need be. If you succeed, go to 147. If not, go to 140. We have examined this before. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking, Pads. It's very October-y. So, page 14 of book 2. Bonus and penalty dice. Sometimes the prevailing conditions for the investigators, their environment, and the time available can hinder or benefit a skill or characteristic roll. Under certain conditions, the keeper may grant a bonus or a penalty die to a roll. One bonus die and one penalty die cancel each other out. Such bonuses and penalties operate in a similar way to raising the difficulty of a roll and can be used instead of or in addition to any increased difficulty. Normally, though, bonus and penalty dice are used primarily with opposed rolls. For each bonus die, roll an additional tens percentage die alongside the usual pair of percentage dice when making a skill roll. You are now rolling 3 separate dice, 1 units die and 2 tens dice. To take benefit from the bonus, use the tens die that yields the better, lower result. Okay, so we basically roll translation in simple. Okay. You have your percentile roll, so you have the tens and you have the ones. You roll the ones once, you roll the tens twice, and you pick the lower of the two. That's how that works. That's wonky. That was like a mouthful to really explain that. They could have just said roll digits once, roll tens twice, pick the lower digits, or pick the lower tens, and that would have explained it. Okay, so this is another weird thing because we did this before. We kind of know there's the book thing there, so I may actually fudge this. You're very welcome, Minxie. I hope you have a very good sleep. This will be video on demand afterwards, so you can always catch the whole thing later on and just kind of catch up and then see where it goes from here. So, all good. I appreciate you stopping in. Okay, so we're going to do spot hidden with bonus. So I'm going to roll once. We got a 36, which we already pass. So I don't even need to roll the bonus. We already pass. If you succeed, go to 147. Okay. We have an interesting little map here, by the way, of Emberhead. So up here is May's boarding house. Workshops, Silbury Street. That's the village hall. That's where we are right now. There's the beacon. West Road, East Road, General Store, School. We were somewhere over here when we chased What's-His-Face, and we were over here when he was explaining the spell and got shanked. So that's kind of the layout here. Okay. Yes. Yes, Dad, she's in the UK. All right. You're looking along the spines when you notice how close the bookcase is to the window on the north wall. From outside, there is a solid 3 or 4 feet between the edge of the window and the wall, and the bookcase covers the wall with the bricked-up window. Further examination reveals an ingenious arrangement of slipcases physically attached to the shelves. When you pull to the left, an entire section of the bookcase swings out. The clatter of activity around the beacon seems to be building, and you flinch at every conversation that gets too close to the building's door. If you investigate behind the bookcase, go to 153. To close it and make your escape while you can, go to 120. Come on, we're already here. We can get in some seriously deep shit. But I think we're gonna go behind the bookcase. Let's see what's really hidden here. Okay. 153. You squint into the darkness behind the bookcase. It is a small alcove big enough for one person and has a hidden shelf on either side. You cannot make out any titles in this light. To risk opening one of the cliffside windows a little, go to 165. To grab a few books and leave, go to 159. Aw, man! That is crap. I think if we try opening a window, we're going to get caught. And I think if we go for the books, we might get something useful. provided we have time to study it. But we kind of have to do one or the other. Like we're here. So that's kind of a dumb choice. I thought we would actually find something useful right away. I think we grab a few books and leave. Go to 159. You slip from the building, clutching some of the more portable volumes. In the shadows behind the artisan's courtyard, you examine them. To your disappointment, 2 or 3 are in a script unknown to you. Another appears to be in Egyptian symbols. There is a spidery, handwritten copy of something named the Emerald Tablet. Perhaps most intriguing is a small book of strange poetry bound in black, published in Boston in 1919. The cover reads, Azathoth and Others by Edward Derby. Okay, we have our first named old one. You'll have to hide the larger volumes, but you can pocket the Derby book. The Derby volume will require about a week of study to fully comprehend. If you survive this adventure, you may read 171 for more information about it. Noting that down. 171 if we live. For now, go to 120. You feel a deepening unease about Emberhead and this day in particular. Once you have attempted 3 of the options below, go to 98. Otherwise, you may search May Ledbetter's bedroom, go alone to the village. We're already at Village Hall. This is kind of back where we were, so we have 2 choices. Take a closer look at the artisan's courtyard, spy on activity at the beacon, or slip down the east road and flee for good. Grendel had said courtyard, so I think we're going to try that one next. 219. You approach around the back of the buildings in Emberhead's northwestern corner. By this time in the morning, you would expect activity in the artisan's courtyard, but the benches and anvils sit deserted. Your footsteps echo off the surrounding walls. One of the workshops is shut up and padlocked. You peek through the joints, but you can see nothing inside. To try to crack the padlock, go to 225. To physically break in the locked workshop, go to 232. To move on to another area, go to 120. I don't think we do anything to raise an alarm here. I don't know what we're going to find in a workshop, so I think we're just going to go to 120. I think that's just back to where we were, and we might as well just move on. I'm kind of surprised we haven't died yet, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay, so we've done the village hall. We've done the artisan's courtyard. I don't really want to spy on the beacon. I don't want to search the bedroom. I don't want to leave because what the hell's the fun in that? So let's go to 98. You are contemplating your next move when you see one villager, a bald man with a damaged ear, watching you intently. Some instinct makes you walk in the other direction. Then you see the others ahead and you're to your sides. A wary teenager, an evil-eyed matron, and a man hefting a club. They're not staring as obviously as the first, but they keep you under watch and they are closing in. You cannot hope to overcome 4 of them at once. To try to lose them among the buildings, go to 158. To run for it, go to 164. Well, it's kind of dumb because I'm in their village. They're going to know everything. Screw it. Try to lose them in the buildings. 158. You dart down an alley, then turn and head in a completely different direction. Running feet sound behind you. For the first time, you feel Emberhead's cramped, chaotic streets work in your favor. You try to circle around towards the southern road. Make a stealth roll. If you succeed, you may checkmark the small box and go to blah. If you fail, go to blah. Okay. Yeah, didn't run. Didn't make a run for it, so we're trying to lose him. Stealth is 20%, so we do not have a very great chance of making this, but we're going to try it anyway. Oh my god, we have a 6. We made. Wow, dude. Okay. So we're checking stealth. We made it. If you pass, go to 7. As you approach the southern road that descends to the lower ridge, you see 4 villagers blocking the route with farm tools and clubs. You veer off and head towards the west road. Your heart sinks as you see exactly the same scene at the other exit from the village. You are trapped. To try to talk your way past one of the guard groups, go to 119. To try to slip past in disguise, go to 125. Or do you know another way to leave the village? I don't know another way to leave the village, and it doesn't say what to do here. The spell, I don't think, is the right thing, and that depends on the stars, so we can't obviously do that. So we either try a disguise, which we aren't really skilled with, or we try to talk past one of the guard groups. We talk to them, they're probably going to try something. If we try to... Okay. This wants us to try to get past them one way or the other. We're already stuck there. So... yeah. Crap. Yeah. Grendel, I don't have the option. This is literally like you do A or B, or it gives you a number of options, but you don't. This is not like totally freeform role play. There's no water around. We're just fields as far as the eye can see. So, we're gonna fail one way or the other. So let's try a disguise just to be really creative. $125. On the other side of May Ledbetter Street, you see a washing line with some baggy, crumpled clothes. It's not a lot to work with, but you use your own clothes as stuffing, improvise a hat, and change your gait to a stooped shamble. Nobody gives you a second look as you limp towards the southern exit from the village. The guards are still at their station, scrutinizing passers-by, but they're beginning to look bored. Make a hard disguise roll. So, a hard roll, I believe... I think a hard roll is the quarter. A difficult task requires a roll equal to or less than half your skill value. A hard success. Okay, so disguise is only 5%, so we literally have to get a 1 or a 2. We are absolutely fucked here. Like, okay, 37. We fail. 139. These locals are not as stupid as you think. They grab you and march you back into the center of the village. Go to 108. The fading light from a narrow window tells you afternoon is giving way to evening. Your hands are shackled behind your back so you cannot even lie down on the tough bed. A woman you have not seen before comes in. Her face is wrinkled and her eyes dull. They do not meet yours, but she puts a cup to your lips. To accept the drink, go to 104. To reject it, go to 113. We're going to try to reject it. You turn your face away, and when she tries again, you dash the cup from her hands using the side of your head. The clear liquid spills across the floor. The woman gives a half shrug and turns to leave the room. You shout after her, but she gives no reaction. You soon become thirsty. Go to 205. As the light fades outside, your little prison becomes dark. You can hear much activity around the building. Occasionally, an orange glow passes the window. The only comfortable position in your shackles seems to be to sit against the end of your bed with your arms hanging behind you. You need to concentrate and come up with a plan. There is clearly no escape from your bonds. You do not know exactly what your captors want from you, but you cannot ignore the fact that they have spent the entire day constructing a massive bonfire. Go to 27. Yeah, a little bit, Carrie. That's the type of thing you would have in this. The door scrapes, wrenching you back into the moment. Orange light spills into the house from blazing torches held at the threshold. 2 large villagers step in and grab you. At least you assume they are villagers. They wear heavy black cloaks and their faces and hands are painted entirely black, save only for a red triangle centered on their left eye. You try to drag your legs, but they reach under your arms and lift you bodily from the bed. Outside, it seems that the whole village has congregated to see you. Every single one has a blackened face with the red triangle motif. Torches sputter and spill fire. You struggle, but you can see physical resistance is hopeless. You are marched to the central street and turned to face the beacon. Go to 117. The procession down the approach is slow and formal, save when you sense weakness and yank at your captors. A chill touches you when you see 3 human shapes carried ahead of you, draped in red cloth. The beacon looms larger and larger in its dreadful silhouette, a black triangle pointing to the stars. A low drone begins among the cloaked figures. Unbidden, the word mourners comes to mind. Smoke from their torches makes you cough. You feel heat on your face. As you reach the cleared area around the beacon, 3 dancers break from the pack, young girls swinging balls of fire in spectacular arcs, drawing circles in the night air. One by one, they draw close to you and touch your forehead with sooty fingers. Each kisses you 3 times on the left cheek, right cheek, then forehead. Then they whisper in your ear. The smell of kerosene fills your nostrils. Make an appearance roll. If you succeed, go to 10. If you fail, go to 148. We do not look very good, so we need to get under a 40. 13. Okay, somehow we did that. Go to 10. Through your sacrifice, the village will be reborn, says the first dancer. You pass from earth to air for all our sakes, says the second. I've weakened the chains, says the third. Don't try to escape until the flames are high enough to hide you. You stare at the third dancer. In that inky visage, you clearly discern the frightened features of Ruth Ledbetter. Their dance weaves off, then disappears behind the buildings. Go to 18. As you arrive beneath the beacon, 10 villagers close in on you. Working with surprising coordination, they immobilize you and lift you up the blackened iron stairs to the raised platform. You cannot help but shiver at the sight of the central framework, twisted from past blazes, and what you can now clearly see to be fastening points for the chain. None of the eyes meet yours as they lash you to the metal. The village sings now, something rhythmic and ancient carved from odd syllables. A second group ascends to the beacon, carrying the 3 red-draped bodies. With reverence, they arrange their burdens in a triangle around your feet. Then they withdraw, leaving you alone with the dead, shin-deep in a sea of kindling. Go to 33. It seems the entire village is gathered around the beacon to watch you burn. Behind the face paint, you recognize May Ledbetter, and yes, that is Silas, the coach driver, standing at her side. The audacity and scale of the deception staggers you. A man steps up on the dais and raises his hands with quiet authority. The frame of his spectacles obscures the red triangle on his face. So we draw here together again on this night as we do each year, and we give thanks to the one who will preserve the village against the fire of the void. You will be taken by the ones from above in our stead.
Your death will bring life to our streets and bounty to our fields. It will safeguard our children and our elders alike for another year. We salute you. He bows his head. All along the beacon, bearers step forward and lift their torches to the edge of the raised platform. A ring of tiny flames flicker up around their perimeter. As they wink, the singing of the villagers drops into an unearthly rhythm. To throw all your remaining strength against the bonds, go to 44. To wait and see what happens, go to 40. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. We're going to wait. The flames snake across the kindling, catching and rising. Smoke rises and it becomes difficult to see the villagers. The three bodies surrounding you catch fire, blazing with sooty red flames. You begin to cough as the smoke enters your lungs and fight down the urge to panic. If you have learned a strange chant and wish to try it, this is the moment. So, we did. So, we are going to do that. We add 10 to our number, which is 50. The flames draw closer as you bring Arbogast's chant to mind. It is hard to clear your head as the heat grows beneath your feet. You cough and sputter, but you sustain the words. Finally, you reach the key passage, and even as your clothes catch fire, you yell for the third time, Funglui Magwafel Kathaga Formulat Naglaglaf Naglathan. Ya Kathaga. Go to 270. The swirling tongues of fire around you stop in midair. The people around the beacon freeze, their black-painted faces bleached and stripped. As a second sun opens in the air above Emberhead, in an instant the people, the village, the hill, all are consumed, incinerated by impossible proximity to sheer combustion, the essence of fire. Though your body is bound to the beacon, your being is freed. As a spark you race into space, catapulted through the vastness of the void. The stars burn past you with incomprehensible velocity, and then you are home. Forever you will dwell here at Formalot, where the flames ripple and flow through immense spaces to the rhythms of the universe, where planets themselves move and tilt through unutterable wheels of fire, bound to the clockwork chaos of the living flame. And among the flames you will dance. You have single-handedly destroyed a section of New Hampshire about 16 miles in diameter. This also killed you, the end. Okay, we basically unleashed a nuclear bomb on the village. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. All right, well, we're dead. Maybe I can try this again some other time, but I think that's going to do it for tonight because, yeah, we nuked New Hampshire. I don't know why we would do that, but we did that. We did that. All right, everyone. What'd you think of my very first YouTube live? I know I've done this on Rumble. I know it's a little different, but I wanted to try it over here and see how we go. I hope you had fun. I hope that gives you some idea of what the Cthulhu game is and the types of horrible, horrible ends you can meet. That felt very Lovecraftian. That was very, that was a very Cthulhu sort of, well, cool. You took everything out and you're dead, but you're kind of not. I'm okay with that. Yeah, I could do this again and kind of change my setup and change my stats and my sheet and all that stuff and just see how it goes. And deliberately knowing some of the choices I made, I could be like, okay, don't do this, don't do that, and just like see what happens. Could be worth another play. I don't know. But for now, I think that's all we're going to do. Game works like a lot of other TTRPGs where you have like a player's, it's different names, but you have like a player handbook. You have a lore book for the keeper. That's like the game master.
They have other adventures. There's not tons for this particular system, I think, but that is more than enough to get going. So I will probably get more, and I will probably go through some of the other missions at some point. I might even... Ooh, I got it. We'll take a few players, and we will do this as a live. So I can do this YouTube, and I will have other players in here, and we can see what the deal